welcome back. We're going to do some wonderful preps in addition to two side missions, which are not very interesting. They're fine when you are first playing the game and learning the mechanics, which I am not, but such is early game life. So these side missions are where we're introduced to Arthur and Ruby on the next one, and on this one we'll be able to hire Axel and Volo. Axel, Volo, and Arthur are all units that I'm allowed to use. Not allowed to use Ruby, not that that's much of a problem since she's pretty bad. I will be killing off 4 of the characters that I'm allowed to use on this side mission so that I can get the Dusk Charm, which provides 17 avoid at all times to anyone who can equip it. People who can equip it include anyone who cannot use shields or any sort of bow or crossbow. They're mostly infantry. There's only 2 mounted units in the game that can also equip charms, and I'm not allowed to use either of them in my calls. For what? And before any of that, we have to do some preps, as is often the case. This is where Dean would be if I had not killed him. Here is Volo. He is rather pricey, but as he says, he is worth the payment. He comes with Adept and Deathmatch, which are exceptionally good. Despoil, which exists. It gives you some money, kind of, technically. Iedo is alright. It works well with Deathmatch. And Blades just means that you can use Blades, which are sort of like heavier, stronger forms of swords. Mounted units can never equip Blades. And, most infantry sword units can equip Blades. Here is Axel. That's the cemetery. Here is Axel. He's very cheap. And it's because he's not terribly good at combat. His stats are okay, but he has bad hit rates, and his skills are not really all that combat specialized except for Pulverize here. And he's mostly just for being a better option to check out houses than your 2 thieves. And he is good at that. And he's just pretty decent in general, just like can't really be relied on for combat too heavily. Anyway, buy some vulneraries, I suppose. After we trade them off of Chris, who once again we cannot use. Sure. Just gonna give everything that belonged to people that I can't use to other people. Mostly be sufficient for now. Although, definitely give his bag to someone. Although, really, Axel doesn't need one, to be honest. Bags are form of extra inventory you can carry in this game, which is quite handy since the game does not provide you with a convoy. That should do. All of our horses have been stolen. They were all very good horses called stallions that provide an extra 2 points of speed while mounted, and we can't be allowed to keep those, so they've gone. We'll recover some of them later, but definitely not all of them. I believe you recover 3 of the initial 7, if I believe that's right. I actually ought to save. I have had this game crash before, so wouldn't be pleasant, really. So, here we have Sherlock, Adel, that we're all not allowed to use, so they will all die on this map. I've neglected to sell their stuff, so I guess I'll trade that away. This isn't actually necessary since items are returned from units when they're killed, but it would be kind of a pain. So now we're gonna do this map with Elbert, Vogel, and Axel, I guess. Those 2 idiot guys down there are actually something I don't believe Saga did do first, since they appear in FE6 before Saga did it himself. Amazing. Send everyone down and hope they die in a timely manner. It will, unfortunately, take a while. Early game units are really, really quite non-threatening. I suppose I'll have Albert fight over here on the left side. And when I say fight, I really mean grind spear rank, and maybe he'll accidentally kill something along the way. You might think this random dialogue between generics is like relevant to some sort of map event or anything like that, but no, it's just a thing Saga does in Berick Saga where NPCs randomly talk to each other. So I wouldn't really say it's a good or a bad thing. It's just sort of a thing that happens. Albert did gain 1 point of spear rank on the first mission, and to be honest, I'll be pleased if he gets a single other point on this one. We'll see, though. Just moving them down in the hopes that more enemies are exposed. They are exposed to more enemies, rather. Volo and Axel aren't really going to do anything on this map. I've more or less deployed them for the sole reason of getting them happiness, which is a mechanic in this game where mercenaries, most of them, are hired based on the amount of a hidden stat called happiness, where the more you deploy them, the more they are put on maps and are hired, the more that they will get this stat until eventually they will reach some sort of threshold that's different depending on the character, at which point they will be permanently recruited. You will no longer have to pay for them to get their services. Volo in particular has the highest requirement for a male unit, I believe, for happiness, as long as you don't do his alternate recruitment, which I suppose I may do his alternate recruitment, since I could simply kill Faye, and that would make it quite easy. And I have no reason not to kill Faye, since she's not one of the units I'm allowed to use. It does also mean not being allowed to use Volo during the chapters between 7 and 9, but to be honest, I don't think that's really that big of a deal. And it does mean that I would have to pay less for it. Axel is not very high level, but he's still too high level to get any EXP from killing these generics. Surely they will eventually die. Eventually. In fact, it's possible that I should have just left them all equipped so that they would have less avoid, so that they would die faster. However, they would be countering the enemies then, and that would be slightly annoying as it would take longer, so I don't know. Don't believe that pitchfork would have dropped. That was Axel proccing a skill he has called Robbery, which is a small chance, I believe it's 25% every time he kills something, to steal an item, a random item from their inventory. And it can only happen 3 times per minute. And it also, the level of the item, the rank of it, must be lower than his level. And here's showing up Bolo. I'll turn on animations for you. There, 62 denarii I just got from that. That's the despoil skill in action. You get a small amount of gold every time you kill an enemy. The amount of gold is based off of the level of the enemy. See, that is actually slightly concerning, because he might get hit by this guy who does a whopping 2 damage and cripple him. And we don't want to be crippled, we want to be killed. But we'll see. It's 1 damage. In that case, we're safe. You can't be crippled if you don't take at least half of your damage. Half of your remaining health. There goes Adel. And nothing of value is lost. For those wondering, yes, I am aware that Adel and Sherlock eventually get their own missions in later chapters, which I will no longer get in because they are deceased. And no, I'm not concerned about this fact. There goes Leon. Chris herself is tied to a number of events, but not allowed to use her, so... Impressive with that. Don't get crippled. There we go. There she goes. punching bags are dead. This boss here actually has special dialogue when provoked. He's the only boss in the game to do so. So, presumably because they want to tutorialize the idea of provoking enemies, otherwise they're not moved towards you. See how he has 76 hit rate, which is quite high, and I have 100, which is really, really quite high. That's because he's using a skill called Desperation. Dean had it. You can increase your own hit rate by 22, but guarantee that the opponent will hit once they counter, and if you are faster, then you will also get a second attack. This guy was apparently not faster because he did not get a second attack. And now we'll probably slaughter him. Let's see, we're gonna have to do it twice. That's still twice, but with slightly better odds for me. Bolo could die here if I got rather monumentally unlucky, and I'm willing to live with those odds. He says that, but he still will not move. And as you may have noticed, Albert did not get a single point to spear, and now I'm going to have the map since I've been here long enough if you ask me. Here's another unit who's quite good. Guess what? Not allowed to use her. Can't use any bow units. She's quite strong in the early game, though. She basically has the stats of a pre-promote, and she has very good accuracy because of aim in particular, and that's very valuable in the early game, as you probably noticed me missing with Albert like 12 times in a row. storms off, as any good king should. It's hard to say if King Mortius had any good qualities. We never learned of any. Now to start our second side mission. Here to fulfill her role as the Third Lord in Navarone. Should listen to Arthur when her bases are as bad as you're about to see. You may be thinking, oh, if her bases are bad, perhaps her growths are very good to compensate for that. Not really. There is a reason to train Ruby, but it's not her bases or her growths. Alright, I should probably sell everything. I was thinking about selling before I forget. Only Adel can use this. Only bow users can use these. here we can deposit the materials we picked up, which in this case is just the bull pelt, because I don't believe I got the yew wood. There was no reason to. So we have here a choice between the Hestia and the Mjolnir. Normally the Mjolnir is the obvious pick. Since I'm running low on axe users, I'm going to do it anyway actually, but it's not as much of an obvious pick since Dean is dead. And, let's see here. So I have these three to work with, plus Arthur, who we're about to pick up. And, I don't remember anything else that needs doing at the moment. Well, actually, hold on. It's important that we pick up our graveyard item. Very, very, very valuable. Every 4 people that you get a gravestone for, you will get one of these items. This one is the Dusk Charm. It provides 17 avoid. The Dawn Charm provides 17 hit. Then the next 4 deaths brings you the Hide Charm, which just gives you the hide skill. It's not very good comparatively. But this one and the Dawn Charm, the next one, are very, very, very valuable. Now that Volo has it equipped, he has 49 avoid, which is really quite impressive. And another thing we should do, actually, is hire Sylvis just to get her killed, as that's the kind of honorable thing we do around here. Since we want to start working towards that next charm. I don't believe we need any more items, but it is worth checking. Yeah, I believe this should be sufficient, so we'll get going on the next mission. Normally it would be a very wise move to bring a shield for Ruby here, since she actually does not start with one, but since we're not allowed to use her, there's no reason to do that. Here we start with Ruby and Arthur on the map. I actually don't believe they're in lost condition. I can check in a second. They might be. In fact, it would make sense for them. Be wondering why there appears to be lava there, and so is everyone else. All player units lost, so that actually does sound like we can lose Ruby and Arthur here, and it won't be a problem. So, I really just don't mind sending Arthur out there. He is a playable unit. I'm not too concerned about him dying. If he gets overwhelmed, the trick about Fog of War maps in this game is that they actually, unlike, as far as I know, every Fire Emblem game, Fog of War doesn't cheat. The enemies can't see you if you can't see them. Well, that's not quite true. The enemies can't see you if you're not in their vision radius. There are some ways that they can see you when you couldn't see them, but it would mostly involve a specific tile called a lighthouse, which is not present on this map. Anyway, the point is, on this map and in general, on a Fog of War map, if you're not within 3 tiles of an enemy, they simply can't see you. If you hold select, then it will show up this screen, and you can see that Ruby over here has the little leaf icon to show that she's hidden. That means that enemies can't see her, so they won't run towards her, and if they happen to run into her just from randomly moving, then she will get to attack first, because basically she will surprise them. The same is true of the enemy. If I were to run into the darkness over here, for example, if I used Hurry and there was an enemy right here and I ran into him, then he would get to attack first on Arthur, because I would have basically surprised, or he would have surprised me out of the darkness. And that's why I'm not too worried about Arthur here, because if he happens to get sort of like overwhelmed, then he can simply run off into the darkness and the enemies won't be able to see him, so they won't be very effective at chasing him. These enemies really aren't much of a threat to him. The only one that was much of a threat was that guy who just ran off to heal because he had a firebrand, which is a kind of pitchfork that does extra fire damage, which is slightly more threatening than these normal pitchforks, which just have terrible hit and terrible might. And as you saw, when one was blocked by a shield, it did an amazing 0 damage, so not really much to worry about here. I could use Desperation, but there isn't really much of a point. And here are our reinforcements. So, Albert, Volo, and Axel will essentially slaughter this map, and we'll get poor Sylvis killed. Ruby we can't get killed yet because she won't leave behind a gravestone if I kill her on this map, as far as I'm aware at least. Here we're using Desperation. It can be used in several ways. The most common way that I just used it there was essentially to maximize your hit on a weakened enemy, so that the idea is that you, even though they would counter at 100 hit with no defense from you, they simply won't get that chance at all because they will be already dead from your higher hit connecting against them when they have lured you. So that's what happened there. It worked. So there will be some reinforcements from the cave we just came from, so I believe I'll just leave Sylvis there, and that should do it for her. Missed enough times to get more spear rank eventually. It's always nice to see archers attacking Albert because he once again has Arrowbane, so very low chance for him to actually connect. We'll try out a cheeky little pulverize here, see what happens. And that is what happened. Well, that is unpleasant. If that had crippled, that would have been pretty bad for me. To be honest, there's not a whole lot you can do to play around that. That's not to say there's nothing, but it's not much. At least in my humble. I will capture this guy. I'd like to use a vulnerary with Albert here. I should re-equip the weapon first. One of you has firebrand. Let's see what my deathmatch odds are. 0% hit. So this is why the Dusk Charm is very, very good. There is absolutely zero risk to this. I will kill him, and nothing can possibly stop it from going wrong. He can miss as much as he wants. All he'll be doing is giving me more sword rank, so... Now that is an interesting move. I don't know why on earth you would choose to attack Volo in this situation, but I'm not mad about it. And for those wondering, the crit on Albert was a 3%, as you can see right there. I'll go for this, I'm not worried about it. I suppose I should have been worried about it. I think I might have blocked the spawn from the enemy there, which has been unfortunate. Yeah, I think that may have been what happened. So we do have to be a little bit careful. Technically, this man could crit kill Arthur right now, since he's under 20 HP. So a crit can do up to 20 HP. So this is like not a very good move, but oh well. There we go. Started on letting Sylvis die. Might actually delay me on this map, but that's alright. This guy is bringing this Scylla orb to the boss over here. And if he delivers it to him, we'll start using it, and we don't want to see that happen, so we will deathmatch. I like these odds, as it turns out. 4% chance to do some 2 damage to me. I can live with those odds. Volo is already very, very good before you give him the Dust Charm, and it just improves his performance quite a bit. Alright, with 3 enemies, you should die a bit quicker. One would hope, at least. Good. You gotta be worried about... Oh, actually, see what happened there? The enemy lost grip on his weapon, even though he didn't get injured. Entry automatically unequips your weapon, but he wasn't injured there. That's just a chance that all axes have to unequip you. And it's actually a bit unfortunate in this context, because I would be able to desperation him if he hadn't lost his weapon, because you can only desperation people that can counter. So mildly unfortunate, but that's fine. It's actually more damage than I expected to do. Oh well. Not in any real danger. I should have unequipped her. She's going to counter this guy. Oh, there we go. She got hit, so she can counter. I'll do that now. Perfect. Oh, not perfect. That's actually quite bad. Oh well. It's the price I pay. Well, actually, these are bandits, so I believe some bandits will capture instead of killing, but I'm going to hope that these are the kill variety. Now, this is a very bad move. I should not make this move at all. So I won't. And wonderful. They will, in fact, kill her instead of capturing her, which is perfect. Now, it's worth mentioning that even though these enemies down here can't see me, these enemies can. And just like I share vision between Ruby and the rest of my team, the enemies share vision between all of their units. So because these guys can see me, that means that the rest of my team over here is not hidden. So they will go from here and start approaching me. They won't go towards Ruby because, once again, they can't see me. No one is near Ruby. Now this is a much safer move, so I'll go for this. Volo here does not function very well as a Jagan, since oftentimes when you try to weaken an enemy, he will just adept and kill, but that's alright. I'm not really all too concerned about EXP game. Level up on Arthur. You guys see 40% strength growth, so hopefully you see that. We didn't, but that's alright. Sword is actually quite nice to get. It's the thing that holds back his promotion the most, so it's I'm quite happy with that really. Dark spot does in fact contain an enemy, and I'll put a little flag there. That's a feature this game has. I believe you can put up to 8 flags. Quite nice, really. It's actually quite early for Axel to get an axe point. That's great, actually. I would not have expected that. His axe growth is quite bad. But, nice. Let's see. This has 5 range, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not range. This is not one of the best moves of all time, but we'll take it. I trust 93 in this context. I'll have him take a vulnerary even though there's so few enemies left. Can never be too soon. Vulneraries are just 500 denarii, which is really quite affordable for the effect they provide, so in my opinion it's good practice to just have every member of your team have a vulnerary at all times, and in some cases for people like Dean, if you're using him, or a Sherpa, I would suggest having multiple vulneraries on them. 'Can reach to here, and because I'm within range of this guy, if I were to attack from here, he would be able to see me, so I will simply wait. And now I will attack, because his turn has been consumed. And now, even though I'm within his range, he can't see me because that guy's now dead, so now it's perfectly safe. Seven hit, I can live with these odds. I'll briefly see if I can cripple this guy, but if it doesn't work out the first try, then I'm just not going to keep going, even though really there's no reason to stop. This is one of the very few boss quotes in the game. It's kind of funny. It shows up so early, it might make you think there'd be a lot of them. There's really not, though. Kind of paints Arthur as a smart guy. Didn't work. Didn't even hit. It's alright. This would definitely not hit. 56. We'll try it. Wow. Amazing. It's really not a big deal if he uses his Berserk, because it's single use, you can't use it again, and it sells for very little, so there's no real point in capturing him for it. You only capture him so you can ransom him himself for money. So that was Chapter 1-1 and Chapter 1-2. Almost every main mission, at least for the first, 70% of the game, will have 2 side missions per chapter. So that was that. Next time will be Chapter 2M. See you then.